Week 1. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans, shall we? Start to break these down. We are going to do these opponent previews kind of as they need to come. And this is our first one. I think we're going to do the Houston Texans tomorrow. Then we got some OTAs Wednesday. We got a special guest on Thursday. So we'll sprinkle these in as necessary throughout the next month and a half or so. But we are breaking this down with the Titans. To start us off, Week 1. Take a quick look at what they look like as an organization. Of course, Rand Carthon, who came over from the 49ers. I believe he was in the mix for the Bears job, memory serves, when they hired Ryan Poles. He got the Titans job. Somewhat of a shocking offseason firing. Mike Vrabel, we all believe was one of the more popular head coaches out there, and then not only did he get fired by the Titans, which obviously was to infighting, whatever, lining everything up the way they wanted, so everybody was on the same page. But nobody hired Mike Vrabel.
That was interesting.
Which was definitely interesting. I believe he had a cup of coffee actually with the Wisconsin Badgers during spring practice. I had heard he was doing some stuff there. So they go on, they hire Brian Callahan, who comes down from the Bengals.
39 years old, born in Champaign, yep.
And the Titans won 6 games last year, and the over-under right now for this season is 6.5. So kind of right there where, maybe they'll make a little improvement. Expectations aren't too high. They hire Nick Holtz, who comes over from the Jaguars, and Denard Wilson, who comes over from the Ravens. Neither of those coordinators have called plays.
Yep.
And Brian Callahan is going to call plays, actually, and he's not used to doing that from Cincinnati. So sort of a Matt Nagy-ish situation there where he gets hired as the head coach. He's going to call plays, even though he didn't do it a ton. I'm sure he got a little bit of experience here and there, but wasn't the primary play caller with the Titans. So there you go in terms of their front office and coaching staff, and big moves being made there, all to help Will Levis play quarterback better in year 2.
I was watching some of the OTA Titan footage to get ready for this segment, and according to everything that I could find, the defense...
You breaking down OTA film.
Yep, that's right. Press conference film is real tough, deep dive. But I was listening to what they were saying, and the defense ahead of the offense right now, which is not a huge surprise. I actually, just listening to Callahan talk, I mean, he's got an easy way about him. I sort of just appreciated his demeanor. They're working on situational football over there, the defense whooping the offense on 7-on-7s. But what's standing out is, you mentioned their DC, Denard Wilson, who's coming over from the Ravens, and Wilson promises their defense will, quote, be violent in their approach. They're going to be doing, from day one, we are going to press everything, period. So you go back to last year, the Titans had press coverage 33% of the time. There's only 3 teams in the NFL that had less press coverage. I know, Nick, you're a big press coverage guy.
I like the press coverage.
Yep. Didn't use it much when he was with the Eagles as their secondary coach, but then with the Ravens, they did a ton, a little more aggressive. And you look at the Titans' cornerbacks, they brought over L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs, who's very physical. The Chiefs pressed 83% of the time last year. They also signed Chidobe Awuzie, who likes to play that way too. And then they got Roger McCreary. That's 3 guys. And the reason why I'm keying in on this is that as we look forward to September, it seems like the Titans are going to be very up and pressing on the Bears quarterbacks, which, could be something early in the season. Will Caleb and company be ready to deal with that when, the offense might get, not flow as easily as you would like it to early in the season. So I think that is something to pay attention to with the Titans.
Well, yeah, especially, too, when you look at the strength of this Bears offense, too, those 3 wide receiver sets, when you get Rome Odunze out there with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, you're going against what I think is a really good, maybe even slightly underrated cornerback room with Sneed, Chidobe, and then Roger McCreary. So when you hear that they're going to press, they're going to play physical. Callahan was saying a big reason why they wanted to get Denard Wilson over here as the DC, and he was on a podcast with Robert Mays, was that when he was in Cincinnati, looking at some of the defenses that they would face, Baltimore was the one that gave him trouble. And he was, again, working with the DBs at that time, but you're bringing him now, Wilson, over to Tennessee to obviously be the defensive play caller. When you have a stacked cornerback room and you have a guy that's been familiar with cornerbacks, like, that's where your strength of that defense is right now. So that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch when you're looking at Keenan Allen, the trio of wide receivers the Bears have versus a trio of defensive backs the Titans have. That's going to be fun to watch in September.
Yeah, I like the matchups, honestly, on both sides of the ball when it comes to the wide receivers versus the secondary. I think this will be a good first test for what the Bears are rolling out there with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze, and obviously how Caleb Williams fares against some of these guys in the secondary. Yep. And then on the flip side, the Titans, they have some weapons now. They've been trying to stack up their wide receiver room a little bit better. So they go out. They already have the Hopkins from last year, and then they add Calvin Ridley, who follows the OC over from Jacksonville, and you add Tyler Boyd to the mix too, against what the Bears have in their secondary, which we all view as one of their strengths. Yeah. So I think this comes down to two young quarterbacks and how they fare in what should be somewhat evenly matched battles on both sides of the ball, with the wide receivers going up against a couple strong secondary. I do think the Bears secondary I would give the
So Snead and Jalen Johnson, those two are like the top of the top.
I know, that's why it's fun.
Snead's way more physical.
But I like the Bears safeties better.
True.
And of course, Kevin Byard is going to have his little revenge game situation against the Titans, who traded him mid-season last year. I mean, I'd give the Bears a slight edge in overall secondary. I mean, you probably right now have to put Snead first.
Yeah,
if you're just doing the individual players. But I think if you ranked out all the secondary players here, the Bears would come out on top in terms of overall depth. I think you make that same argument on with the wide receivers too.
I think you have a bigger edge at wide receiver.
Hopkins is still pretty damn good.
Yeah,
but
he's getting up
Ridley. Yeah, I would give it to the Bears for wide receivers.
Yeah. Did you realize they gave Ridley $92 million over 4 years?
Yeah, he got paid.
I mean,
paid.
A lot of Bears fans want the Bears to sign him.
Yeah, right. Dude straight gambles, gets suspended. No one cares. Oh, he had a great year with Jacksonville last year, over 1,000 yards. He actually was planning on
going back. He had a case of the drops, too, a little bit there.
You need to do a little bit more reading on, the deep dive on what was going on there. The guy was battling some mental health issues. He went down a pretty deep and with the gambling stuff that happened, and came out on the other side of kind of like really turning around some things there. To the point that I think the teams, and obviously the Titans here, who invested that much money in him, getting back to that word trust I talked about in the first segment, he's been able to regain that trust to the point that obviously the Titans don't think that's going to continue to be an issue, or they wouldn't have given him that much money.
Yeah, and hey, second chance, third chances, eighth chances, life is a journey. I'm not trying to say the guy doesn't deserve, and he had a great year last year. I mean, he caught, and people are putting in the chat that he had a bunch of drops, which is true. He also caught 76 balls. He had over 1,000 yards, and he was durable. He played in all 17 games. So,
I think when I look at what team has the major advantage, when I look at the Titans' offensive line, there's still a lot of question marks.
Yeah,
they bring in, so you got J.C. Latham, who's going to be their new starting left tackle. Peter Skoronski, a guy that we talked about a lot on this podcast before in last year's draft. He's their left guard. Lloyd Cushenberry's new, so get that chemistry between Will Levis. Right guard right now, from what I've read, just from a bunch of Times reports, is like really up in the air. You have three guys that are, I think, competing. Daniel Brusco, who's a veteran. Diller Redunce, who has been moved all over. And then one other player that's Still competing right guard. And then right tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere has a guy that, and I think he only played 3 games last season, was season ended due to a shoulder injury, still rehabbing. So you just don't know with that right side. And when I'm thinking like where the Bears can take advantage of this matchup, you have a guy named Montez Sweat on the opposite side. If he needs to go against that right tackle who hasn't played in a long time, Nicholas Petit-Frere, that's where the Bears can maybe win in the trenches. And again, you're going against Will Levis's second-year player in the new offense. That's where things can get a little just sway into the Bears' favor as I'm thinking about this matchup in June.
I mean, if they're struggling at right guard, maybe the Bears should make a call and ask them if they want to have Nate Davis back.
He don't practice either.
They don't really have that replacement. But yeah, I tend to agree with you, Nick. I mean, look, Skoronski's going to be a rock there at left guard, but Latham, this will be his first NFL game,
and he's switching from right tackle to left tackle. Like, they think they obviously can do it, but you have to project there.
Yep, for sure. So I think you guys already know the answer to this because we put out a Twitter poll this morning. Carm, do you know what the line is on this game?
4.5.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that what you would have guessed if you didn't know?
That's tough to say because I do know and I didn't know and I don't know.
I think I would have guessed that the Bears would have been favored by 2.5.
Oh.
Maybe straight up 3. Maybe 3.5 to count for the home field advantage a little bit. But I was a little surprised that it was all the way up to 4.5.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's showing some Bears
some confidence,
respect a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that people love to bet the Bears.
Well, that's part of it. But I think it's and so I think my question though is, I wonder if the Bears are being overvalued a little bit with that. With the hype, and then they're gonna have Hard Knocks. I'm interested to see if this line moves at all between now and kickoff, which I wish it was a Sunday, but it's not. Actually, I don't wish that.
You definitely.
But we asked you guys on Twitter this morning, so make sure you're following us at CHGO_Bears. Bears are early 4.5 favorites against the Titans. What do you think happens? Option 1 was Bears cover 4.5. Option 2, they win but they don't cover. Or 3, they lose. Now, we understand it's a Twitter poll, and the results are going to be somewhat skewed.
I went with win, don't cover, for the record.
Yeah, that's honestly I did too.
There you go.
Yep.
And I got the Bears winning by 20, so screw you guys.
Wow, Hoge.
So I'm with the 65.2% in Bragg's land that just have the Bears covering easily.
Why not?
28.9% said the Bears win but don't cover, and then there's 6% out there that are just haters that think the Bears are going to lose.
6%ers.
Losers.
Those are just Packer fans.
Yeah, that's true. They
Rollers.
found our poll.
Yeah.
Found the poll.
Good poll. Excellent job, Hoge.
Thanks.
I mean, you just came out of nowhere with a poll today. I don't know, completely out of nowhere, but that's not a normal Monday for you. I was impressed.
Wow, so
came up with a poll, tweeted the poll, asked us what we thought about the poll. It was a good poll. It's a good job.
Well,
it's a good way to start our previews.
Trying to let Greg enjoy his vacation.
I'm doing the poll tomorrow.
No, you're not.
Might not be as good.
No, you're not.
We're gonna do the same poll
consistent.
on the
Consistent.
Texans. No, we really are.
Oh, it's on the spreadsheet that
Well, we'll add that column. In the
but I
spreadsheet.
might need to add it.
Just in
column
case.
needs to be added.
Yeah.
Poll spreadsheet. Dates. Polls.
But Ryan Poles has a bunch of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
The best,
A lot of good gum. Spreadsheets. Ideas. Certainly. Polls. All right.
Whatever number of spreadsheets Ryan Poles has is the number of spreadsheets more than you have.
Do you think a person's success level in their professional life correlates directly to spreadsheets? Can we put that as a poll?
I think there is some kind of common denominator.
Spreadsheets?
I use spreadsheets sometimes.
For what?
When I do or player profiles, I'm like, this guy, check. This guy, haven't checked. I use him sometimes,
Okay.
depending on
Who
the
brought
part
up
of the
this
season.
topic? I feel so inferior right now.
You brought it up.
I got to get it back going. Do you think Caleb Williams has a spreadsheet for fans that in jerseys? Can we talk about
His
that at some
dad
point?
had a spreadsheet for when he was going to transfer out of Oklahoma to where his son was going to go to school.
Jim Cook.
Jim Cook's got 4 spreadsheets open right now. I'm fascinated what's on those spreadsheets right now. Just bring him over here. Let's go. Let's see who wants to sponsor this show. Let's go. Or any show here for that. For the matter. Thank you very much.
What do you have for me, Carm? Because you were boasting right before the show started about it. I have so much stuff for you, Hoge.
Okay, Hoge. Wow. Thank you for this opportunity. Number one, you went through the coaching staff, but you didn't get hit on the guy that you should be hitting on.
Oh yeah.
That's Colt Anderson, who is the Titans special teams coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with Callahan in Cincinnati. He was the assistant special teams coach, damn it. Hoge.
So he's getting a promotion.
That's correct. And as you know, Hoge, as a head special teams coach, you're only as good as your assistants. And this guy was there for the Bengals. They were 10th in punt return average last year, Anderson. They were 8th in opponent punt return average, 7 yards per game, Anderson.
Good.
They were 2nd in opponent kickoff return average, Anderson. They were 5th in opponent net punting. Colt Anderson, something that we got to fear.
That's not who I thought you were going to talk about on the coaching staff.
Well, I got Scott Fuchs, too, who I could see on your... Fuchs?
Yeah. Fuchs?
F-U-C-K-S.
What the Fuchs?
You would think
It's Fuchs.
You would think it's...
It says on the website, it is pronounced like books.
Books.
Which would mean it's Fuchs.
Fuchs.
Fuck. I don't...
Not Fuchs. Unless you pronounce
Fuchs.
Books.
Fuchs.
You say Books?
Books?
I gotta give myself
I read
a book.
lots of books.
A fuck.
You need to read a book.
That's terrible. Scott, you do it.
Yeah, you do it.
You do
I
it.
can hear
What?
it again.
Scott Fuchs.
Can't.
He does, doesn't he? My guy, I didn't realize that was the best part of him. But the reason why Scott Fuchs is interesting is that he is their assistant offensive line coach, which is amazing. The guy's been in college for 30 years. Fuchs was a Saluki in 2008.
Show him some respect.
Hey, that is respect. And he was an assistant at KU in 2023. What does that mean, Hoge? For Fuchs. What does that mean? That means that he coached Austin Booker, baby. 6 Degrees of Bears. Scott Fuchs.
For the record, he didn't go to college for 30 years.
This is the first time he's been in the NFL. He's been a college coach for 30 years.
Yeah.
Finally getting an opportunity. But that's not the leader in the clubhouse.
What the fucks?
Oh, it's not?
It's not. No. The leader is the defensive quality control coach, which is Lori Locust.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. If you want to be intimidated by anybody in the NFL right now, go look up Lori Locust and look at what she's done in her career. This is her 5th season, her first 4 with the Bucks. She's got a Super Bowl ring, and Bucks NFL. Look at their stat. Led the NFL in rushing defense while she was there. 92 a game. 5th in sacks. They get to the quarterback. 3rd in tackles. 1st in quarterback hits. 5th in takeaways. Vita Vea was dominating under the tutelage of defensive quality control coach Lori Locust.
Fuck. Man.
I mean,
I do love
Lori Locust is coming for you, buddy, at week 1.
I love some of these profiles that these websites write up. Like, we're giving Vita Vea the defensive quality control. Shout out.
She was the assistant D-line coach for the Bucks.
Okay.
I mean, that for a...
Sorry, I thought you were saying she was the quality control.
No, not now. She's the defensive quality control.
That's a little bit different.
But Locust, I mean, how many women in the game are the assistant D-line coach? That's amazing.
The Bears have
Running backs, assistant.
running backs. Coach.
King.
All right. I mean, D-line is a whole other level.
Yeah,
That's about as intense as it possibly gets. Not that any of the jobs aren't intense. But
By the way, a couple other connections to the Bears. Tyke Tolbert, the Bears wide receivers coach the last few years, they got fired along with most of the staff, is now the Titans wide receivers coach. So he's a little revenge situation going on week 1. And then Chris Harris, of course, former Bears safety, who's been a coach now for a long time, was, talked about as a potential option for the Bears defensive coordinator job. He ended up as the passing game coordinator and cornerbacks coach with the Titans, so he's there as well.
And the Bears actually have one of their old coaches in Jason Houtailing?
Yes.
Assistant offensive line coach. Yep. So he was there with Nate Davis in Tennessee for a little bit.
So there you go.
What do you think it would take at this point in my career to be able to get to one of these gigs? Just an assistant to the assistant coach. If I started out as a volunteer at Carmel, okay. You want to spend more time with me. It's like, your volunteer special teams, like bring you water guy. How long do you think it would take me? Do you think I could do it in this lifetime?
Look, there's plenty of gigs that I would be happy to provide a reference for. That would not be one of them.
Okay, let's say you reference me and I get in at a 1A high school in downstate Illinois. How long? What percentage chance would you give that I could get some level of assistant to the assistant in the NFL?
0.
What percent?
I'm hippie nerds got it. 60-year-old tennis player to NFL assistant coach. I mean, why can't I get that done?
I don't know.
You could be the first, Carm.
Look, if you want to really get into Lori Locust's career, I did notice as I was looking through this earlier, like she was a long time assistant coach at the Keystone Assault. Don't know what that is.
She was in the Alliance of American Football.
Susquehanna Township High School, Central Penn.
She was the co-special teams coordinator for the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks of the National Arena League.
So you gotta go.
But places. I think I'm better than Locust.
I strongly disagree with that.
Yes.
I think it's disrespectful you even said it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I apologize, Lori. I didn't mean that at all. You're better than me at everything you do. Congratulations.
Well, I don't know about that.
Everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses.
I don't know if she was doing the show with us, and she'd be breaking down
Mercedes
Lewis the way you can.
Thank you.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, she probably can do that, too. She's probably got a lot of respect for Mercedes Lewis.
I take it back. I'm coming for you, Locust.
All right. Take 3 on trying to wrap this up. There's your in-depth Tennessee Titans preview.
We all silly like the mayor.